Hi everybody, I'm Starla.
I'm Mik.
And we are Our Family Plays Games. And welcome to our preview of Ghost Writer.
Ghost Writer.
Now, Ghost Writer is a new game by Resonym.
Mm-hmm.
It is designed by Mary Flanagan and Max Seidman. It plays 4 to 6 players, and you probably want to be about 13 years or older to play this game.
Yes. And it's coming out soon on Kickstarter. So let's just tell you, family, everything could change for this game. Rules, the components, everything. So I'm just letting you know. So, because right now we're playing a prototype. So now let's learn about the overview and the goal of the game.
Renowned mediums are competing to figure out a secret object and prove they can connect with the world beyond. The first team to figure out the secret object wins. There are 2 teams, each with 1 medium and 1 spirit. Mediums take turns giving their spirit secret question cards to answer about the object. Letter by letter, the spirit begins to write out part of an answer as a clue for everyone to see.
All right, now we get ready for the setup. Mm-hmm. Now, it's for 4 to 6 players.
Yes.
Now, if you have 4, that means you got to split the team into 2. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be the sun team or the moon team. Mm-hmm. Now, once you split them into 2, someone has to decide who's going to be the medium and who's going to be the spirit. Mm-hmm. Now, whoever's the spirit gets to try to, pick an object so their medium can get it right. Mm-hmm. So, what happens now is that all the spirits, both spirits on each team, will share 1 evidence card. Now, on the evidence card, it will have an object. Both spirits have to decide which one of those objects they're going to use to see if their mediums can come up with it. Now, then the mediums will get 7 question cards. They'll get 7 of them so they can choose which 2 they can give to their spirit to see which one of those question cards that the spirit will go with to try to kind of tell them what that object is and clues. Now, the last thing, you'll have this pad that has both teams on there. You'll have the sun team and the moon team, or which side you're going to be using. Now, when you have more than 4 players, you're going to try to use most of the players on the mediums. Try to keep 1 spirit for each team, but everybody else can be mediums, and they can just share the question cards and try to come up with something all together. But that's the setup.
Teams take turns. The sun team goes first. On your team's turn, rotate the page to face you. The team's medium decides either ask a question or to guess the object. Yeah.
All right, so now it's about play.
Yeah.
Now, when both teams are ready to rock and roll, mm-hmm. like you heard Starla say, you only have 2 options. Either ask a question mm-hmm. or guess the answer. Mm-hmm. So when you're asking a question, the medium chooses 2 of the question cards to give to the spirit. The spirit will look at them, and then the one that they don't want to use, they'll take that question card, put it face down out of the way. The one that they use, they'll let the medium or mediums see which one they're going to use, mm-hmm. and then they start putting down the answer to that question. Mm-hmm. And they'll do each letter one by one, slowly on the pad, and once they're doing it, they'll say out loud what that letter is. Now, when they start going along, if the mediums figure out what that letter, that clue is, they say, Silencio! And then they stop. Mm-hmm. And hopefully you don't think the other team won't understand like what's going on. That you'll know between you and your spirit, you'll say, I know that answer, and just hope that the other team don't. So that's what you do. Now, on the other side, when you want to guess the object, because you only have 8 rounds to do it, only 8. But if you guess the object, you say, okay, I want to guess that object. So you'll take your pencil and you'll start on the next line that you have, you'll put the first letter of the answer of the object that you think it is. Now, if your spirit says it thinks that knows that's the right letter, they'll knock on the table, and then you can keep on going. But if if you keep going and one of those letters is wrong, they'll put their finger up to their mouth, saying that you're wrong. And then you cross out that letter.
But they don't say you're wrong.
Well, they don't say you're wrong. They're just saying that you're wrong.
Yes.
And then that's it. But if you're right and they just keep, and you get it all right, you win. But remember, you only have 8 times to do it. That's it. And that's the play.
Mediums. Be sure to say silencio as soon as you can. It's better to say silencio too early than too late. Spirits. Choose a clue that will be clear to your medium after only a few letters. Write slowly to let them say silencio.
Now, those are some strategy tips, but it was a pretty interesting game.
I thought it was very interesting, and it's a little different than your regular deduction games.
Yeah.
Because, instead of you're trying to figure out the object, but you got to figure out how the question fits the object or how it works with the object. So that was interesting.
Yeah, and you got to make sure that once you put those words down and, the spirit is writing them out, as the medium, you got to make sure you can figure out that answer, because you don't want the other side to say, because that one time when we had you were trying to tell me that it was a horse. You spelled out the whole thing, secretariat.
I did.
And if you put secretariat down, the other team,
they're gonna figure it out.
They were figuring it out.
Yeah,
they were feeling like, okay, so it must be a horse. So I'm like, because I couldn't understand what were you putting down. I was like, I couldn't say silencio fast enough, and I was like, what is that she putting down? And you went all the way through. I'm like,
I thought you would get it, and it's that kind of thing. You're hoping that the mediums, because I was a spirit, you're hoping that your mediums will be able to figure this out, in a few letters, and you got to be really careful on the clues you put down there. So that was an interesting thing. I mean, for a group of people, I know it can be something that they'll enjoy, but you got to really work at it, and the deduction part is what's going to really, I think, drag people in or get them into.
You mean pull them in?
Pull them in.
Pull them in. Pull them in like a ghost.
Yeah,
pull them in like a
pull 'em
ghost.
in.
And because like when I was the spirit and you was the medium, nobody could figure out mine, because
my goodness,
I had dinosaur. She couldn't figure it out. She said bad clues.
Oh, the clues were hard.
They were not. They were good clues.
And that's, you got to work on your clues. You really got to get. And I think that's the challenge in this game. And the strategy is, what kind of clue can you give that your medium is gonna know? So that's the strategy part. It's not just like, okay, I can give you a clue and it's gonna be simple. No, there's a strategy to try to make sure your mediums can outdo the other mediums.
That's right. And you try to make sure that as a medium you get that clue quickly, because everybody's looking, because I'm looking too, like so what they put in there?
Because the spirit is quiet.
The spirit is
can't
quiet.
say anything.
Well, they saying the letter out loud.
Well, you can say the letter, and you can write a letter, but you can't give any other hints.
But those question cards, sometimes they kind of make you think, like,
they do.
If you have like a, like I have a dinosaur and they say, where can you find this in the household? I'm like, really? How can I, where you go find a dinosaur in the house? And that's when I said encyclopedia. So I was like, you can find an encyclopedia, I guess, so. Yeah, so it makes you think, and I like that. I like these.
So I know Ghost Rider is going to be a big hit. I hope, when people go ahead and look at it, go take your time.
Always research, folks. Always research.
Check it out on Kickstarter, see what it has to say, read more about the game, and see if it's something that you'll enjoy.
Because don't take our word for it.
Yeah.
Research, like we always say, research, look into it, see what's up. And if you think your family or friends would like something, a party game like this, hey,
give it a try.
There you go. All right, folks, but thank you so much for checking out this preview of Ghost Rider.
Ghost Rider.
And where can they find us?
Well, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Yeah.
Sometimes on the Dice Tower.
Sometimes on the Dice Tower.
And right here on YouTube.
Yeah.
And if you're in Omaha,
yes,
you can check us out on local television on Channel 22.
Yeah.
KPOW.
That's right. That's right. So everybody be safe, and we love you. Bye-bye now.